The morning of September 4th, 2006 began like any other for renowned wildlife explorer Ethan Wells. The skies above Bat Reef were clear. The coral sea shimmered with its usual calm. Ethan, known globally for his fearless approach to wildlife and his deep respect for nature, prepared for what was meant to be a routine shoot, some shallow water footage for his upcoming documentary, Ocean's Deadliest. It was not a high-risk dive. In fact, it was intended to be the safest segment of the entire production. But within moments, that calm gave way to chaos. A stingray, not aggressive by nature, not typically dangerous to humans, suddenly turned defensive. In an instant, Ethan was struck. The wound was catastrophic. His final words were quiet, precise, and chilling. "I'm dying." This is not just the story of a tragic accident. It is the story of a man who dedicated his life to protecting the very wilderness that ultimately claimed him, and of a rare one-in-a-million event that silenced one of the most passionate voices in wildlife conservation. This is the final dive of Ethan Wells. Ethan Wells was more than a wildlife presenter. He was a conservationist, educator, and documentarian whose work inspired millions around the world. Born in 1973 in Tasmania, Australia, Ethan grew up in a home shaped by nature. His father, a field biologist, and his mother, a marine animal rescue volunteer, instilled in him a deep understanding of the natural world from an early age. By the age of 10, Ethan could safely handle reptiles. By his teenage years, he was assisting in wildlife rescues. Unlike many television personalities, Ethan was never interested in fame. His early documentaries were modest productions, often self-funded, shot on handheld cameras, and distributed through educational networks and local broadcasters. But what stood out was the integrity of his message, that nature was not our enemy, but our responsibility. His communication style was calm, informative, and grounded in empathy. Whether filming a venomous snake or standing in crocodile-infested waters, Ethan avoided sensationalism. He treated every animal, even the most feared, with respect and care. His mission was clear: to replace fear with understanding and to promote coexistence over conflict. As his audience grew, so did his impact. By the early 2000s, Ethan had established a global following. His work led to policy changes in wildlife preservation and educational reform in schools. He was admired not only for his bravery, but for his unwavering commitment to animal welfare and education. In 2006, Ethan and his team began working on Ocean's Deadliest, a documentary focused on misunderstood marine species, from box jellyfish and sea snakes to saltwater crocodiles and reef predators. It was designed to bridge the gap between fear and knowledge. Exactly the type of project Ethan was known for. But none of them could have predicted that this would be his final production. If this story gripped you, press on red subscribe button and turn on notifications for more updates. September 2006, off the coast of Queensland, Australia. Production was temporarily paused due to weather conditions at sea. While the rest of the team waited, Ethan and his cameraman, Jason Miller, decided to take advantage of the calm conditions near Bat Reef to capture some B-roll footage. The dive was shallow, just a few meters deep. No dangerous species were expected in that area. The environment was ideal for filming. Shortly into the dive, Ethan encountered a large short-tailed stingray, estimated at nearly 8 feet in width. Stingrays are typically non-aggressive and rarely pose a threat to divers. Ethan had interacted with dozens before. He approached with caution, as he always did, careful not to block the animal's path, making slow, deliberate movements to avoid startling it. Jason's camera was rolling as Ethan moved into position above the stingray to capture a clean, natural shot. Then in a sudden and unexpected moment, the stingray reacted. Its tail whipped upward in a rapid defensive motion. In just seconds, it delivered dozens of strikes. Most were harmless, but one was not. A single barb, sharp and serrated, punctured Ethan's chest. The strike was so precise that it penetrated the pericardium, the protective sac around the heart. Ethan surfaced immediately. There was no panic, no yelling, just a quiet, devastating acknowledgement of the truth. "I'm dying," he said. Jason believed it was a lung injury, serious but survivable. But within moments, Ethan collapsed. The team rushed him onto the inflatable boat. CPR was initiated. Emergency services were contacted, but they were too far from help. The wound was fatal. He passed away en route to shore. His death was almost instantaneous and irreversible. News of Ethan Wells' death spread quickly across the globe. For many, it didn't seem real. A man who had braved some of the world's most dangerous environments, brought down not by a predator, but by a stingray. But it wasn't fear that took him. It was instinct. The stingray didn't attack, it reacted. Marine biologists later confirmed that the incident was a rare defensive reflex. Stingrays are not aggressive. They use their barbs only when they feel trapped or threatened. Ethan's positioning above the ray, though careful, may have been perceived as a threat. It was an accident of timing and anatomy, a one-in-a-million event. The footage of the incident was confirmed to exist, but was never released. At the request of his family, it was either destroyed or securely archived. They believed that showing it would reduce Ethan's legacy to a single tragic moment, rather than the lifetime of work that came before it. That legacy lives on. Today, Ethan's Conservation Foundation supports marine research, wildlife education programs, and global rescue efforts. His children, now educators themselves, continue his mission with dignity and purpose. His impact is felt not only in preserved ecosystems and protected species, but in the minds of countless young people who grew up watching him and learning to respect the wild, not fear it. Ethan Wells left behind more than footage and documentaries. He left a philosophy that the natural world is not something to dominate, but something to defend. And that understanding begins with empathy. His final dive may have ended in tragedy, but his life remains a powerful call to action.